I gonna cry?
No, you'll be okay.
I got my hater shades on, dude. Blocking your ass.
Pooch is a guy's guy. Period. End of story.
With a festy bestie.
Bestie, bestie. The list could go on and on.
The most miserable have-not of Big Brother history.
Yes, that's right. Well, we just finished. What is this now, Jeff? I guess this is the 8th episode of Big Brother 24 here on July 24th, 2022. I'm Dave Mader, joined with my brother Jeff Mader here on Super Mader Brothers Podcasting, covering this week 3 / week 2 eviction episode and the week 3 HOH nominations. We got Festy Besties here. We are here streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch, or you might be listening to us on the audio version. Jameel Robinson still away at the San Diego Comic-Con, not expected to bring in for this podcast, but he will be back soon from California, where he sips on tequila night after night, I heard. So, Jeff, what did you think of this compact episode? Because we didn't have a Thursday eviction. Last time we were here was Wednesday, talking about the veto episode. We knew we weren't going to have ended up working out for our hockey tournament, or hockey playoffs. But Jeff, what do you think? What do you make of this episode tonight? The Festy Besties, maybe in particular.
I liked it. I liked the whole concept, Dave. The whole pick a bench. I didn't like how quickly the house hacked it, but I did like the idea of it. I liked the having to pick someone to stick with, but is that actually a good thing? It seems like it's more of a bad thing, as being able to block together. So, the people that, got picked should be suspicious of the people that picked them. You know what I mean? And hopefully that comes up eventually. But
there was like a mixed reaction to the whole twist. Like, you saw how certain players, especially the players who were already in big alliances, how they wanted to treat it versus how players who are more floater types, if you want to say that, are, they're like, oh, I'm with so-and-so, that's good. Or, I'm going to go with this person because, I won't go next to them for whatever reason, whatever they think, that because they know that this would be their potential blockmate / I guess, the chances of winning HOH also go up, because if your bestie wins HOH, then, or veto, you're also safe. Mm-hmm. So there's kind of that part of it, but there's always that fear, like, okay, I got to make sure I'm not eliminated. What do I have to? What water do I have to tread to make sure that doesn't happen? But first, Jeff, we didn't get a chance to do this properly the other night. But we saw here the eviction. It takes place fairly early here in this episode. But Pooch is ultimately evicted here, 12-0, Jeff.
Yep.
In this one, what do you make of this?
I thought it was funny because he when he heard 12-0, I think he thought, oh, great, I'm safe, because he thought there was no way. I think Joseph or Turner would not vote for him. Yeah, but okay, what did you make of his speech? I don't really remember. What did he say?
Not much. It was a lot of rambling. I gave it a D. Whereas Taylor's was very well.
Did he talk about God and media, loving everybody, or I don't know? I forget.
To be honest with you, again, for the second episode in the row, Jeff, we're having some issues here with the system.
Yeah.
We had the broadcast.
Environment Canada has issued a tornado warning for Eastern Ontario.
Environment Canada was issuing tornado warnings, Jeff, left and right. Take shelter, take extra care and attention. I don't know where Bannockburn, Ontario is, or Frontenac, Ontario, or I guess this is all Eastern Ontario, which we're not really near. So this kept coming up in the episode. So a lot of the episode got interrupted for this tornado. And eventually I was just like, this tornado needs to do what it needs to do so we can move on. There was a lot of warnings. Did you find this interrupting?
Yeah, it was annoying, but at least I thought last time it was skipping ahead. It didn't seem to do that this time.
No, they kept coming back. More warnings. New towns were added every few minutes. Does Canada get a lot of tornadoes? No, we're not known for our tornadoes in particular.
But it's changing. It seems like
climate changing.
It's climate changing.
Some similarities out there. Well, yes. So Canada had a lot of tornado warnings tonight on this 2-hour Big Brother episode. But yeah, I saw most of those speeches, Pooch and everything else here. Let's talk about a little bit too from the episode, and maybe not. It's not just the Pooch getting blindsided here, but also, Jeff, we have a Kyle and Alyssa showmance buddy.
Yes. Okay, that's interesting. Yes, they seem like a strong team. They're a little, what is it? Post-pack alliance, or is it
They're in the Pack.
Pack alliance? Is that the same? Is that what they mean when they say post-pack or post?
Well, I got the impression that like Paloma is Poe because they were all in this alliance with her.
Yeah, they did a little thing early that said like, "Oh, to honor her, we'll name our alliance after her," or something like that. I think Alyssa said that.
Yeah, but Kyle and Alyssa, I guess they would be in the Pose pack. They seem like they would make a good couple. But Jeff, I saw on Twitter her boyfriend, he is not too impressed with this.
Boyfriend with Alyssa?
With Alyssa.
Didn't she come in single?
Not according to him, and she's mentioned him, and she goes, "Hey, just for the record, I'm the guy that she's mentioned in the house, and I'm never going back with her again." It was kind of like, I'm paraphrasing. Joe Doyle was his name, Jeff.
Joe Doyle.
Yeah, Joe Doyle's not having any of this.
Doyle rules.
Joe Doyle here. Here's a picture of him and Alyssa. He said, and I quote, "Yes, I was Alyssa's guy back home." And 90% of what she said, 90% of what she said about me is not the truth. I was going to stay out of it until she started bringing me up to this directly. This girl is out of her mind if she thinks she will ever get the time of me for a day. What do you think, Jeff?
They'll probably end up right together after the show.
Or will she stay here with Kyle, the Mormon, the former Mormon boy who turned man, maybe perhaps?
Scandalous.
Yeah. There's a lot going on here. So they seem like they would be cute together.
Yeah, well, whatever. There's always one showmance every show. And I don't really like the showmance aspect of the game. I really enjoyed Big Brother Australia, Dave. There was ex showmances within this house, but no real showmances.
Ex showmances. Okay, well, some people I thought there was other people I thought were single, like Turner, who I guess is. Did we know he was in a relationship with Megan before tonight?
No.
I'm checking my draft. I'm checking our draft right now because I thought Turner was listed as single coming in. Not the case. And I don't know how. You know why though, Jeff? A man who can lick his own elbow is not going to stay single for long.
I thought saying the states really fast was more impressive.
Was that really a talent? And I don't think he truly pronounced those states' names. I think
you have to just do it enough that Guinness, says it's okay. You know what I mean?
Okay, so I don't know. He's one of these people who I think makes up a lot of things. They said he keeps making up all these talents he has.
Well, he actually could do that. He backed both up.
So maybe he's a Renaissance man. He can do all kinds of things. He can lick his elbow.
Mm-hmm. If he didn't back up what he said, I'd be like, "Oh, this guy's full of shit," or whatever. But
yeah, why are you able to do so much weird shit?
Because he just does. I don't know. I'm sure.
What do you make of Turner? Are you liking him in this game? He wants to avenge Pooch. He's the new HOH in this episode.
I don't think he has a good grasp on the house yet, and he admitted that even with the whole I'm happy I'm with Yaz. By the way, Yaz, she is Miss Minutes. It is painful.
But not an endearing version.
No, I'd rather the show version of Miss Minutes. She seems like she had more of a soul.
Like Canadian actress Tara Strong, I believe.
Her character when she's doing the competition, it's not really her. I feel like it's like this caricature TV character she's playing. I know they all do it, but she sounds so much like Miss Minutes. It's hard not to be distracted by that a little bit. I'm like, oh my god, it's Miss Minutes.
Yeah, it's not my favorite character so far in the show, but she seems to be featured on the show quite a bit. Then after Turner was saw licking his elbow and showing off his many talents, we got this meeting in one of the bedrooms where this was Monty and Kyle kind of talking to Joseph. Joseph not in on the plan to get rid of Pooch at this point. So it seems like Pooch and Turner and Joseph and a few others were not, especially like of the voters of Joseph and Turner, they didn't know that they were going to be evicting Pooch until probably shortly before this eviction happened. Right. Mm-hmm. So there was kind of, they're talking about that because there was all this Oasis alliance that they were supposed to have Pooch's back, but ultimately they didn't hear. Kyle kind of alludes to that in his goodbye message to Pooch later on in the episode. We had Alyssa talking to Kyle after that, Jeff, in the shower. They were kind of in the shower and was also in this bedroom, but basically Alyssa was talking to Kyle about the Girls Alliance, right? She kind of spills this to him indirectly, or not completely indirectly, which kind of gets them all going like, oh, well, why would we want to vote up Pooch if the girls are going to get the numbers on us, right? If I'm a guy, this is not advantageous for me.
Yeah.
Right. That's what they're afraid of that.
I thought that was all for the show, Dave. I really felt like what's really going on is that there's the post-pack alliance, and that was all to make the viewer think, oh, maybe they will get out Taylor, but it ends up being like it was trying to misdirect you. That's how I felt about that whole sequence.
Right. And we also see like of the people who are seemingly like running the house, who I feel like you got to talk about Amira. And she seems to be directing a lot of the strategy from what I can tell from the DR sessions in terms of what she wants and what is coming true and what is becoming the will.
Sure.
Even though she does have to debate it quite a bit. She even talked about like keeping Taylor around as a long-term ally for her is not a bad thing. Taylor will always be a target. Taylor is somebody, she can kind of keep in front of her. But Monty, who I also have in the draft as well as Amira, she's pushing hard to get Taylor out, or he's pushing hard to get Taylor out throughout this.
Mm-hmm.
There's later on this kind of argument between I think it's Nicole and Amira and Monty, all in like it's in the pantry, and he's like, "Hey, we should keep Pooch," right? And basically Nicole and Amira are like, "This is a ridiculous conversation. It's he's not good for our games. We don't trust him, and that's it.
Period. End of story."
Pooch is a guy's guy.
He's not a girl's girl. He's a guy's guy.
There was too much blood on their hands with Pooch. They had to slit the throat. You know what I mean? Like there was no way
too far down.
Yeah, they were too far down.
Do you think just some of the looks here from Amira and Nicole as they're like, no, it's not happening, Monty. We're not doing this. It's almost a panic.
Yeah.
I don't know when exactly before the eviction this was. Anyway, so then after that, there's kind of a chat up in the room where, this is actually before the eviction. There's just talking about how Nicole's talking about like, we are the strongest female cast of all time on Big Brother that ever hit Big Brother. This was like Nicole and Alyssa and Indy talking. We're going full beast mode here, they said.
Is it according to Nicole? Female?
Nicole saying yes.
Right.
Are you denying her?
I deny it a bit, yeah, because we haven't seen them play. You know what I mean? Like this is the second person. You got a guy out the second time. The first one was a girl. Not that you got through that. Well,
she quit,
out, but I know.
But they were going to get Taylor out originally. Really, so
if a girl goes like soon, then they can't say all that stuff. It makes no sense.
Right. Jeff, here's a comment from Mary Bass. She's saying, I don't like how they are editing this and not showing the bullying of Taylor. Is this on your radar, Jeff, that Taylor is not being well treated in the house and it's not fully represented in the edit?
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't watch the live feeds, but I have heard through like people who do that there's been some not nice stuff towards Taylor, and the show doesn't like to show stuff like that because it's buzzworthy, and they only go there unless they absolutely have to. It seems like
they don't like to bury these people or make them seem like they're not cheerable, right? Or that they're outright cruel people. I don't know. This seems to happen in a lot of seasons, especially when there's sort of a goat of the house. And I think it's a little bit of the human nature aspect of what you get in Big Brother. It's like that certain people are going to say, well, that person's the out, or that person's the bottom, right? And I'm sure this happens in Survivor too. We just don't get the the behind the scenes look like we do in Big Brother, right? It's bullying, but it's also just like it's a part of the survival strategy of the game, and part of what we sort of do in a competitive aspect like this. I think rightly or wrongly, and probably wrongly, but I don't know. Like, I don't think you're going to see like nobility in a reality based game like this.
It definitely happens in like this game a lot, where like one person gets targeted at the beginning because one person found a flaw or something they didn't like about that person, which was Paloma with Taylor. And now Taylor's just been like this pariah. She had like a good comment tonight. Oh, I turned, Big Brother difficulty up to, hardest, and yeah, that's kind of how she's playing.
So, right, and so it's unfortunate. I don't know. I don't like it either. But I don't know how you police it or get rid of it in the game, because I think you're always going to see it. Like, it's always the nicest people who get treated like this. That's kind of always the way it is, and it's not a good thing, but it's almost I feel like it's an inevitable thing. Especially the more cutthroat gamer types are going to act like this.
Like Terrence is definitely playing like he's in that same boat,
right?
With Taylor, they had a whole spat tonight or whatever, but was it? No, was it Terrence with who? Who was upset?
Terrence was put with Amira as the.
It was Indy. Remember the scene with Terrence and Indy?
Oh yeah,
and he was like,
yeah.
She was a have-not. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking about. Sorry.
Yeah, he was like, was he the one who said you'll be okay?
Please, 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 please. I've been through a lot in my life already. I don't want to do this.
She is great soundbites.
She is. She's my favorite soundbites. Okay, so there's that talk about all the female things. The fact that Indy is called Cobra by her mother, and then Alyssa says my mother calls me Marshmallow. So there's a bit of a dichotomy there within this strong women's alliance. The dragon's coming out or the marshmallows coming out. It's hard to say.
Right.
Or maybe it's a bit of both. The eviction happens. Pooch's speech way too long. It was kind of interrupted by the emergency broadcast about tornadoes in Eastern Ontario. Julie, okay, on Julie's exit interview here with Pooch, because we kind of talked about how Pooch was kind of like didn't really see it coming here, but she says to Pooch, Jeff, in the thing, you what were you doing? Why you volunteered to go up?
In Big Brother, the pawn always goes.
I know.
The pawn always goes, Jeff.
Not always. Sometimes the
Actually,
pawn's
no.
just the pawn.
But she's like, Pooch, I had big hopes for you here.
Basically, what you say is you don't volunteer, and you don't. Yeah, he just played. He had the backstage boss pass. He had a lot of things given to him, and he completely squandered them.
He did. Do you think I don't think he was self-aware enough, ultimately, is what the feeling I got here tonight, Jeff. I also feel like the lack of studio audience was a big disappointment for me. I'm going on the record here. I feel, Julie wouldn't even hug. She's like, for safety purposes. Are we just never going to have an audience in Big Brother again? Are you happy about this? Because you and Jabil says like this is like the old days. This is like Big Brother 2 when we had no audience.
I don't really care about the audience, Dave. Like it doesn't really do anything for me on the show. You just like
it's that whole thing of like when the person comes out and they're like, okay, you're out of this house now. You're in the real world again. There's like that whoosh, and now like. People are gonna love you or they're gonna hate you, whatever, right? And
people they come to this stupid show.
Yeah, people come to the show. Remember when they booed Nicole, or no, not Nicole.
They booed Aaron,
and then the other one in 16, the one that was flirting with Cody all the time, Christine.
Oh, Christine. Yeah, like I don't know, because then people find out stuff about their real lives, and it's all messy. It's all like like the thing you're saying. Tell me with Alyssa. I don't give a shit. That's nothing to do with me. I don't. I'm glad when the show leaves that stuff out because like
but that's what the show's about. It's about like putting these people under the microscope, isn't it?
I guess. I mean, I don't like to look at it like that, but I look at it as they shouldn't have to share their real world and their game world, at the same time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if they're going into a game, not that they, and if something happens, like, what's going on with Alyssa or whatever, I don't care. Like, that's for them to figure out. I don't. Why does everyone need to be?
We need to be in the know, Jeff. We need to know if these are good people or bad people.
Right, according to other people.
A lot of the audience wants to, like sort of say, like, these are the bad people or these are the good people or whatever, and kind of give like a sort of morality or purity scale, right? Or say like, Nicole's a bad person because she says bad things about Taylor, but because Taylor seems like such a nice, kind person, and why do nice people always finish last, etc., etc.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if Nicole's not a nice person. Like again, we have the same situation. It happens almost every year in Big Brother, and it's why the game is kind of broken. Where there is usually by the first or second eviction, about a 6-person alliance, almost always, and they always find a way to kind of rig the game for them. Where the other 6 people don't figure it out in time, and then they're doomed. You know what I mean? They're on that not knowing part of the game. And that's exactly what's happening again, and it's always very annoying. I wish this twist had been different, where they couldn't have opted out or made sure they lost. You know what I mean? Like, I wish it had been a more random challenge or something, because I think it would have been better if they had been randomized rather than them picking, because now they just hacked it. Whereas it would have been better had like Jasmine and Amira been put on the same team, and then they go in the block together. You know what I mean?
I feel like they're going to try to hack it no matter what especially if you try to introduce something in week 2, where they've already, a lot of house guests have tried to like make up their strategy. They have their plan on how they're going to get to jury and then beyond and whatever. And now if you're saying like, that's all, we're throwing this in the wrench, is they're going to try to figure out a way to get that back, to get that numbers advantage by. Well, my alliance will be spread out and we'll be able to use this or not. But I think that that's sort of inevitable. The only way you can kind of do it is to make it random or have the audience pick who is paired up with who, to see how that goes. It's almost like you kind of wish that the people who are already allied together would be put together, but you can't show those cards if you're the producers, right? Because it's not fair to the contestants who are playing the game. Just quickly on Pooch, what did you think of the goodbye messages? Anything notable here? We had Kyle, Jasmine, Michael, and Joseph.
Yeah, I just don't care about Pooch. I think he was a really bad player. I'm glad he's gone. Okay. I didn't see him bringing much to the show, Dave. I really didn't.
What about Joe Squared? There was going to be Joe Squared with Joseph and Pooch. They were going to be called.
Pooch sucked. Like, he did. Like, legit. Like, he was a terrible player. And he should go out pre-jury because he's not very good at the game.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. Usually like these things kind of work out. I'm okay with it being Pooch, although he was kind of entertaining in the diary.
A little bit. He was a block kind of for me. Paloma was a much bigger hit to the cast, losing him or her, sorry, than losing Pooch here. If the next person, like if Terrence went, whatever, you know what I mean? I still think they have a pretty good cast, to work with.
Yeah. Let me ask you about the competition, Jeff, that came after. So they announced the Festy Bestie thing. They kind of explain how it's going to work.
Yeah.
And then we get this competition that's called Get Lit, right? Where they all had to like hold on to these buttons on the sides of like a lighter. This is part of the festival theme. And it was kind of cool with them kind of like swaying in motion, and they looked like they were dancing a synchronized dance number together.
It was really interesting to watch for the first little bit or whatever. And then it was who could sit in this really hard chair the fastest. Yeah,
I felt like this was dangerous. Like you could have, like, the proctologist might have to get in there if you.
Yes, man.
If you put that armrest in the wrong position there on the come down.
Yeah, even your tail.
We've already seen Jasmine twist her ankle in a not so obvious way, right? So
there was one Joseph did where I think he really hurt himself. He hit right into his back.
Yeah. Did you like this competition?
Yeah, I did, but I didn't like the way they gamed it, strategically.
Right. The way they were like, okay, I can pick a kid to sit at my own table or to go around it. It almost do you think it would have been interesting if the besties had just been based on who kind of went out when? Right? Like based on the order they were eliminated in.
Yeah, that would have been a bit better because then people pretty much half the people through this competition, maybe more. It felt like.
So they said.
I felt like most of them threw it.
Yeah.
To get what they wanted. Which isn't good. You want to encourage competition, not throwing, right? So that's a hit.
Yeah, it went on for a long time. We saw how all these besties were sort of formed, and it was interesting seeing how, for me, like the gamer, like alliance people, like the people who are in the girls, and or the what were they called? Like the po bags.
I don't know.
Something like that, right?
There's the Oasis. There's
the
girls, and there's the
po bags.
The whatever they are.
And that's based on Paloma, I believe. It's like they're like like what would Paloma say about that? I don't know. But after this competition's over, Turner ends up winning it. Were you surprised by the Turner win at all?
No, I thought he was going to win one event like at some point. I'm not surprised he won an HOH. Yeah. Especially something like the one he just played, where I think like he showed that he's really good at like competitions. You're not good at saying all the states in like 15 seconds if you're not competitive. He's definitely a competitive guy.
Mary Bass asking, is Britt really in this girls alliance? I think she's at the bottom of it if she is in it.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And it's the POS pack, according to Mary Bass.
It's Pose pack, I thought.
Pose pack?
Post pack.
Post pack. I don't like it. It's confusing.
Isn't it weird that there's an alliance named after somebody that left the game? When else have we seen something like that?
Not sure. Okay, well, because I thought is this basically what Mamba was? Right? Is this now Pose Pack?
I guess. I don't know.
That would be Alyssa, Monty, Amira, Kyle, and Michael. Does that sound about right? Because we see here, Jeff, Brittany and Michael are in there. There's some of the besties involved here, and we see how we kind of get like a series of like ended after the competition. We see Turner wins, and a few of the besties, including we have like Terrence and Amira. Right, Terrence was almost picked to be with Jasmine, but ultimately Amira came second place in this HOH competition, chooses Terrence. But I think this was a mistake on Amira's part because I think she's made a tempting nomination pair here in these two because Terrence is not likely to win a competition, so he seems like a safe bet to put on the block in a pre-nomination. Now that didn't happen here, but I think that was kind of the weaker part of it, where she could have gone with Jasmine and been safer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and had that
and then Turner would have been with Terrence,
right?
Dave, all the people from the alliance that chose to who to sit beside, like really screwed over the person, their bestie. Really is. And they're happy to do it. And they have to lie to their face.
Like what did you think of like this example, Kyle and Chris, where Chris is not in the post pack.
Yeah, the only way the way that this gets broken is if Nicole is she still loyal to the road rats or whatever they are,
the Pose pack, or you mean with her and Chris, Daniel?
Yeah,
am I calling him Chris? I think I'm calling him Chris. His name's Daniel, right?
Daniel, yeah.
Okay, I'm getting confused with somebody else, maybe from Big Brother Canada.
Maybe.
Okay, Nicole ends up with Taylor.
Yes, she chooses that. She's the first person to buddy up, I think, or maybe the second.
Yeah, and she thinks that this is a good like shield for her. You think that was a good move for Nicole? If you're Nicole,
I think so. Yeah, that was probably a pretty good move. I don't know though, but a lot of people have gone home beside Taylor too. So that could be a trend too. She could be the Spencer of this season.
All right, some interesting ones here too, like Alyssa and Indy was another one. They seemed happy with this pairing, both of them, but because they're both in that girls alliance.
Yeah.
You could argue it's not as strategically as well put together. And then after that, we sort of get some strategy from the pose pack. I think they get together and talk about it. Oh, well, there was all this stuff with Turner in his HOH room first. Sorry, him crying with the letter. Did you get emotional with Turner's HOH?
I think I missed this part. So
she's the only one who calls him Maddie.
Who?
Megan, his girlfriend, who wrote him the letter. Who's crying?
Right. His name is Matt Turner.
Matt. He's known as Matt Turner. It was a very emotional thing. We can see here some of his goodies include shampoo, Cheez-Its, Jeff. He's a Cheez-It man.
M&M's.
Yeah. Kettle chips.
Get some nice soaps there. Some
Nice
Cinnamon
soaps.
Toast Crunch.
Yeah. This was not a great segment for me. I thought that this was too long, and I'm like, that's nice. And I thought you were single, Matt Turner. Oh, here's a picture of him and Megan.
There you go.
He doesn't look like he wants to be kissed in this photo.
That's true. But he likes it. He likes the photo.
He likes the photo. Yeah. Just a comment here from BB on some of these the festy besties. Some of these pairings will backfire and be seen as an opportunity to get bigger targets.
Okay, so which pairings do you think that's going to happen with? Like
I think
could it happen with Amira and Terrence?
I think Amir and Terrence, that's a good chance to get Amir out by under the guise of getting Terrence out. I think that Monty and Joseph is another one. Okay, and also obviously with the big one, the one that ends up on the block here is Brittany and Michael, and and they put them up, and there's good reasons to get them out there. Is that photoshopped? Jeff, is this photoshopped? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay. Then we get to the part, Jeff, where we have to choose the new have-nots, which was maybe one of my favorite parts. Indy did not want to do it. Indy ends up getting picked. It ends up being up to Jasmine, Jeff, as the bestie of the HOH Turner. She said,
Please. I've been through a lot in my life already. I don't want to do this.
yeah, she didn't like it. She was having a bit of a tantrum.
I'm gonna cry.
No, you'll be okay.
I'm going to cry.
No, you'll be okay.
She says, I am the most miserable.
The most miserable have not of Big Brother history.
Yeah, and then she gets into it with Terrence, which I don't even know what Terrence did about to deserve it, but she was just like, listen, I need to get pissed off right now.
Just because I take a little while longer than normal humans should heal and be happy again.
She just takes a little longer than a normal human should to be happy again.
Yeah, Terrence wasn't having any of it.
No, I don't think he really should. He was just kind of like, huh?
Yeah, Chicago Southside doesn't get down with that.
No, he was like, this is disrespectful. It's got all kinds of issues. I don't appreciate it.
The list could go on and on.
I know, Terrence. So he just kind of walks away from that. Just later on this meeting, which the only thing that struck out me about this discussion here was that they were kind of basically talking about who was going to go on the block, whether, Nicole basically saying like, I'm willing to go up to get Taylor out so that I can be separated from Taylor. So, or, ultimately let's get out like Michael and or Brittany if the veto doesn't go the way we want it to, or there's not a renomination part here. So they're trying to hack this like festy bestie thing. They're trying to like control Turner, who I don't think that they necessarily see as like a big gamer in the house. And from what I can tell in the diary room sessions, he's not. He's trying to figure out what's best for his game. I think he's still playing like on the first shap, Jeff, but some of them are on the second or third shap.
Who, Daniel?
Well, I don't even know why Daniel's present for this conversation, because he's not really in. I guess he's kind of in an alliance with Nicole. so that's why he's present here.
I think
but-
he is like the last member of like a tight other group. You know what I mean? He's like the seventh person. You know, that's how I kind of see it. Like, who's he paired with again? Kyle, right?
Kyle, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. You know, which one of those guys sticks around? Because Kyle's
they said that also the thing with this twist is like if you go up on the block and one of you's evicted, who knows what happens to like the orphan who doesn't have a festy bestie anymore.
Yeah.
Right. They said they would have to reveal that. Question here from BB and just about the have-nots. Did they volunteer, Alyssa and Indy, or were they picked by Jasmine? I think they were picked. They were picked, you know, they were or strongly coerced into it because they had both of them had not done it yet. And in every other pair, there was somebody who had done it already. So that's why it made sense for them to do it.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what happened. It's your turn, she said.
It's your turn. Like you guys have had it right. And so there's some scenes that come after this, which I think are largely about the manipulation of Turner and his HOH, but it's almost like they're also manipulating him through people like Daniel, who I see is working in the interests of Nicole, for instance, but Nicole doesn't really need Daniel to do anything for her. Because she's even willing to go on the block. She kind of brings that up as a pitch. And here, you know, Turner's like, well, maybe I put him Nicole or something, and Daniel's definitely trying to steer him away from that.
Yeah,
right.
It's true.
Brittany, basically the outcome of this conversation, I thought too, was like Brittany is kind of expendable to them. They're like, well, if Brittany goes, it goes, right? She goes like that, you know. But Michael's also kind of a threat, so whatever if he's up there, because you know they can't. It's not like one comes down, one stays up. In this new twist, they both come down. Right? You're nominating as a pair based on this new twist.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it. I like the twist. I don't like the execution. But we'll see. Maybe it won't go as it's being planned right now. You know what I mean? It will go a different way, hopefully, and a bigger fish from the post pack gets taken out or something.
Right. There's a series of conversations that comes later on in the episode with Turner's talking to a lot of people. In particular, like, there's one scene here where he's talking to Nicole and to Taylor, you know, and this doesn't go so well. They were both, I think they, you know, especially Taylor comes away from this discussion not liking Turner at all.
Right. Because he was basically like, I could thinking about putting you up is basically what he was saying.
Yeah, you know, and we keep hearing it's Taylor and Nicole or it's Brittany and Michael. It's Taylor and Nicole or it's Brittany and Michael. It's gonna be one of those combinations. There's later a conversation here with Brittany and Turner. I think she's not having much of Turner's antics either, as I recall in the episode. No. And finally, there's kind of and Michael is having a conversation here. Michael, by the end of this, Michael is like, I don't trust this guy. I didn't trust him before, and I definitely don't trust him now. And so I coming down to this, like, where does Turner's game go after this? You think, Jeff? Regardless of what happens this week,
it depends on what happens with this post-pack alliance. If they stick together, I think he probably gets taken out pretty soon.
But he's with Jasmine. But
right.
She's not in the post pack, so it doesn't matter. So
she isn't?
She's with the girls.
Oh, okay. I thought she was in post pack, but
I don't think so. Yeah. And so ultimately that comes down to the final nominations where it's just one key in a box. Not even, Jeff, we used to like do this thing where there were the keys and the wheel, and they would put the chains on one by one until it was people without the keys.
It's slowly gone down to one key.
It's just one key in a box now. It's not even two anymore. You know?
Yeah, they slowly did it. It took them 10 years.
It took them 10 years to get there. And I don't know, like I wish that we would get more players, I guess, on a good. I wish Turner wasn't so clueless here about what's going on. I think this would have made a bit of a better experience for me in this episode, because it seems like, you know, players like Nicole and a few others are definitely have a lot of agency running things. These two, in particular, this pose pack and this girls alliance seem to be pushing things. You know, and I'm always going to go for that to be disrupted. I guess I'm going to cheer for that to be disrupted in some way, because it's like, why play it? We have many more weeks to go. You'd like to see some twists and turns on the road and not just a straight path for like the majority alliance. And ironically, I find a lot of times these twists, like the festy besties, ends up helping out the majority alliance more so than hinder them.
Yep. We just saw that that's what's happening again.
They tend to hinder the underdogs more often than anything.
Yep.
Because it's a whole other thing. Okay, guys. What else do you want to talk about in this episode? It was 2 hours, but
yeah, I don't know, man. Not much.
any questions out there from the audience? As Pooch got eliminated, Turner's in the HOH. There are some spoilers, perhaps, to get into, right?
Yes.
Because it is now, because the episode ends on day 17, and in terms, what day is it actually in the house right now?
Dave, this is interesting in one way because this is back-to-back male HOHs, and Daniel and Matthew Turner that both put up Michael.
Okay, I do have the spoilers, so I think we can probably move on to the Power of Veto spoiler section. But if you don't want to know, get out of here now and sign off. But we're going to see how this is going to play out. And we'll be back Wednesday to cover the actual episode where they'll show all that. And if you haven't checked out our other channels, check out Live Long and Podcast or Trivial Debates or different channels or different friends podcasts. We'll plug them all at the end too. But if we're gonna look ahead into the spoilers section. All right, here's play the warning. All right, so Jeff, what do you think happened?
I know what happened.
Oh well, Michael and Brittany won the Power Veto.
Yes. Do you know who played in the Power Veto?
It sounds like Jasmine couldn't, and so neither could Turner because of her injury. I hadn't thought about that with the whole festy bestie thing, because maybe your legs were tied together, and so he couldn't play it anyway. But in this, it seems like Nicole and Taylor were in there. They played against them, and so now the plan is back on track. Michael will save himself, plus Brittany. Then Turner can do the renom of Amira and Terrence. Is the new plan. Will this new plan hold, and Amira goes out the door? So no, this is terrible news, Jeff.
Yes, that Amira is being targeted because they're starting to see her as being too bossy in their alliance.
No, she was doing so well.
Yeah, well, I think you can overplay your hand. I think that might be what's happening here with Amira.
You saying Amira's overplayed it?
She might be.
She might have overplayed it. Jeez. Jasmine did play, according to Mary Bass, and she passed out from the pain in her ankle. This was a terrible ankle injury, Jeff. I think this was.
She really took her out.
She's got that little scooter thing. Hang around. She's the new Christmas Abbott of this season.
Pretty much.
With this injury.
Yeah, she's a very loyal player, too.
Now, for entertainment-wise, Jeff, would you rather see, let's say this happens and it's Amira and Terrence are the nominees for Thursday. Who would you rather have in the TV show?
Well, probably. I mean, as far as the game goes, Amira, but for TV-wise, I'd rather have Terrence.
Okay, so it depends on what part of the TV experience you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right. There's also a new alliance, Jeff, that's been talked about and was not shown tonight, but it was brought up on Twitter, and I think it's worth talking about. I saw this coming up in some of the feeds here. Do you want to know what it's called?
Yes.
It's called The Leftovers.
Okay.
Let's have a look here. This is what the new alliance is called. Leftovers. We got Michael, Turner, Monty, Taylor, Joseph, Kyle, and Brittany.
Well, that won't last because Kyle and Alyssa are both in it.
Kyle and Alyssa's not in it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and yeah, we'll see. I don't know if that'll work.
It's the if this is the way to keep Taylor safe, people are on board. There's a lot of Taylor fans out there that are happy.
That's
to
fair.
See this.
I just don't know if it'll last because Kyle and it seems like most people don't like Brittany. A lot of people don't trust her. Turner especially. So this is weird.
A lot of people don't like Turner. A lot of people don't like Monty.
That's why this alliance was formed, because they're all the people nobody likes as far as being tight with an alliance.
Who's your favorite person in this alliance?
Well, I actually don't have a player. Probably Kyle, I would say.
Yeah.
He's on the show a lot now, that's for sure.
He's on the show now. He seems to be a good guy.
Yep.
Kyle, he seems like a good soul. It's not over till it's over. That means that Jeff, it sounds like Taylor will not be evicted this week. For the even though she's talked about it every week for the third week in a row.
Yeah.
The leftovers. They're saying that Mira is going to have to get a whole big old plate of blindside butter beans. Jeff, are you familiar?
You're about to get served up a big old plate of blindside butter beans.
Are you familiar with blindside butter beans?
No.
Jasmine serves them. Whether she's festy bestie or HOH herself, or all that. I don't know. I liked Amira so far in the show, and I feel like the show was better off with her in it, at least a little longer, at least to the jury phase, versus getting rid of her now. I don't feel like, I'd rather see somebody like, I almost rather see Terrence go, because I don't have anything against him, but he's not giving me much to cheer for or to be excited about. Plus, I don't have him in the draft. Anyway, so I think we've talked about the different things. We got a comment here that says Kyle, Monty, and Joseph started this because this leftovers alliance because they compared notes about Taylor and Paloma. So are they realizing that Paloma was not very nice about Taylor, or that some of the things may have been made up? Is that so they're willing to put Taylor in the alliance? A redemption arc for Taylor.
I hope she sticks around. I like her. I'm not a huge fan, but I like her. I don't want her to go home. I kind of feel like she hasn't gotten a chance, and I just want to see her get a chance.
She's too bossy for the alliance. Is that the cautionary tale here?
Maybe, yeah. That's what's I think gonna get Amira.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll be back Wednesday to cover the actual episode to see, is this going to be indeed Terrence and Amira going up? The fact we'll see Michael wins 3 vetoes in a row here, Jeff. Not just 2 individually, and 1 is part of a team. Isn't that's something? That's an accomplishment.
He's on his way to records. That's for sure. If he keeps winning
set records. Will his target only get bigger though? Will they eventually take him out pre-jury?
They might. I don't know.
I would.
He's not that big of a threat, as far as
he's winning vetoes left. All the 3 vetoes in a row. I think I'd vote him out just on principle.
Well, maybe you'd be right. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's my final thoughts. Let us know if you have any comments. Make sure share, subscribe. Let us know how it's going out there. We're gonna be back in just a couple of days on July 27th and 28th, hopefully to break this all down for this as week 3 continues here in Big Brother 24 USA. I'm Dave Maynard along with Jeff Maynard, coming to you from our Super Maynard Brothers podcasting Facebook. Soon to be able to be joined by Jameel Robinson when he returns from the San Diego Comic-Con. What else? Check out our other podcasts like Trivial Debates, our monthly show. We argue about movies, TV, sports, and more. We just had our newest episode this morning. July 24th. Check that over on that channel, whether that be on YouTube or Facebook, or you can listen to our audio version. We had Jeff Mader from this channel himself going against our second cousin, Davin Skellhorn, and his friend Chris Murphy as they argue with Jody Simpson about the best horror movie of the 80s and what video game they want to play forever. And there was a bunch of different fun topics discussed on that show. So check that out over there, or any of our episodes on Trivial Debates. As well as Live Long and Podcast, our Star Trek themed channel where we talk about Star Trek all the time. Did you know, Jeff, on Mondays we talk about Star Trek Enterprise? That's right. Yeah, we talk about all the new episodes of. Oh, not new. They're from 20 years ago. Star Trek Enterprise, starring Scott Bakula. And on Jeff, on Tuesday nights, we talk about Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
That's right.
That sounds like baseball.
You got Captain Sisko himself, but this newest episode we're going to be covering on Tuesday is called Soldiers of the Empire, Jeff, with Worf and Martok.
Yep.
They're going to be singing some Klingon battle songs.
Yep.
I don't know my Klingon songs.
They get right into it. That's true.
They get right into it. I'm sure there's some stuff over there. And then in the very near future, we'll be returning with our coverage of the newest episodes, like soon to be Star Trek Lower Decks, Jeff, coming back August 25th. But you can also check out our coverage of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Star Trek Prodigy, Star Trek Lower Decks in the past, Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Picard. If there's a new Star Trek episode, we've talked about it, or a lot of the old ones too. You can check that out. Jeff, today at San Diego Comic-Con, they announced that Lower Decks is going to cross over with Strange New Worlds in live action.
Cool.
Can you believe it?
They should do like Roger's Rabbit.
No, they'll get the actor, because the guy, what's his name? Dennis Quaid's son plays Boimler, and he'll just be like the live action Boimler.
Okay, cool. All right, I'm excited to see it.
It's gonna be good. So check that out over on Live Long and Podcast, plus our friends channels. There's Alex Blackburn and Michael Chan doing the Hellbound podcast every Wednesday, something horror themed over there. There's Davin Skellhorn with his Star Trek team channel, Live Long, or no, it's called Locutors of Trek. As well as Jeff, he does X-Men, the animated series X-Rated every Tuesday. They talk about that show, that great cartoon from the 90s. They just did an interview with Lenore Zahn over there, who was the voice of Rogue and a member of Canadian Parliament for Bible Hill in Nova Scotia for several years as a member of the Liberal Party. So you check out that interview over there with our cousin Davin. And let's talk about fighting games, a podcast by my son Eamon Mader under his alias Sam Jerka, along with Super Smash Bros. Seth and Paranoia. They talk about fighting games. They don't talk about Mega Man, only on New Year's specials. So check that out over there on Spotify or wherever you get your audio podcasts. And Jeff, I think we have to say goodnight now, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Thanks for the comments, everybody. Love having it in here, and we'll give a eulogy here to Poochie in his own words. Okay, have a good night.
I got my hater shades on, dude. Blocking your